Well, yeah, like the parties that like Alamo shows, like Mad Max Fury Road, like it's an event to go there and see it. They give you like props to pass out, like you can have a good time with it. Obviously, 5 years after the movies came out.
I mean, that's a whole nother special thing. Yeah, that certain theaters like Alamo does that. Definitely has a way of bringing people in. Like I know they also did Scream at one point. I know the one in Raleigh. I didn't get to go, unfortunately, but like you bet that if I'm in LA and they do a Scream
Yeah,
down there, I'm going to be going. Like that's awesome. I would love
it's
to
like
do that.
they did. It's called a rowdy screening. When they do stuff like that. But I mean, they did one for Cats last year. I mean, not that anybody cares about that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Like throw milk at each other or something.
I mean, you're there. Like in that instance, you're there and you know what to expect. You know it's going to be
Right.
not a regular viewing experience, so it's like something else to get people in.
Um,
So I mean, that's one thing that theaters offer that watching it at home doesn't.
and I know ArcLight does stuff like that too. I know the ones in I know ArcLight Hollywood obviously does a lot of stuff where they bring in people um, from the films to do Q&As and stuff. But I know ArcLight does a lot of other stuff too, special screenings, um, bringing back older films, and just bringing it back in a good way that brings excites people too. It's not like where you have these large theater chains that just do Fathom events.
Yeah,
And honestly,
which is nice, but it's not the same
to an
thing.
extent, yeah. I don't want to trash talk things too much because I never know when I'm gonna have a job in the future. So
Job Fathom. I don't know. I don't mind Fathom events. I think they're too pricey.
They're too pricey. Well, also,
$14.
that depends on
Sure.
the theater too, because I've seen a Fathom event before at Cinemark, and I only paid half the price that I paid at Regal for a Fathom event, or that Regal charges for a Fathom event.
I still think it should be included. In, like you should be able to use it for one of your passes.
I agree. Um,
Because I can't even. Like I told you, I'm going to see Braveheart. I can't even pay. I can't even use my
an
Regal
upgrade.
Unlimited and pay the difference. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. And it's not like you're getting
I
like
want to see
such a
Braveheart.
you're not getting a premium experience with Fathom either. It's like, because you are seeing it at normal theaters, it's not like you're seeing it at something like an Alamo or whatever that you're getting like this premium experience, or that you're seeing it on film or anything. It's just displaying on the same thing that all these other films are playing on. It's still digital. It's still going to mess up like a normal film if it messes up, which most of the time Fathom events, from working at a theater too, they have to be timed. They're on a playlist usually. A lot of those don't come on like sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't come on like well, yeah. So sometimes they don't come on playlists like a normal movie would, where you build the trailers and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of times Fathom events will come on a TV at a certain time. Like you have a TV upstairs in the projector room, and you have to go up there at a certain time to hit play, and it plays the pre-show to the Fathom event. And like it's a lot of ways for the showing to get messed up and have to be rewind. And yeah, I don't know. It's just honestly, for Fathom events, unless it's something that I really just want to see on the big screen, I would rather just stay home and watch it, because it's not a big bonus feature to me. Sorry, what was it?
Those are the only ones that I go see, or the ones that I want to see on the cinema. Like Forrest, like say I'm going to see Braveheart. I think last year, or the year before, I went to see Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. But it's like stuff that I wanted to see, and I want to see it on the big screen, or like some of my favorite movies, and that's the only way I can get it on the big screen.
And that's good. It's just, to me, it's like, and I'm happy I got to see Jaws on the big screen, because I saw that with Fathom at the Brassfield. But
I saw that at Movie Tavern, same price.
Yeah, that was a different time though. Was that for the 40th?
Retro Cinema. I'm not sure. I know I saw the Breakfast Club might have been a friendly.
Well, movie tavern's a whole separate thing too. That
Ugh.
it's all back to how the chain and the theater, how they handle the audience, how they handle the vibe, and it's just whether or not I want to go see a movie there. You know, like with movie tavern, with theaters like that, I don't want people coming in and walking in front of me with the food stuff and like talking about their menu items, coming up and like, would you like your check, and like shining a bright light in my face, and I'm like, no, I want to watch the end of the movie.
Well, that's what I like about Alamo is that, like I say, you write it down, you put it there. There's no talking. Like even when they bring you the check, they just put the check there. You know, probably 20 minutes before the movie ends or whatever. You put your card, they bring it back. That's it.
See, that's good. But like I remember seeing Ant-Man at the movie tavern and like coming in like
click the button,
the climax, and be like right in front of me with like the bright light on their phone, and I'm like, I'm trying to watch the end of the movie. I don't know what's happening. So it all I guess depends on the chain and where you're going, and so many of these different theater chains are doing different things to bring people in, but. And like I was saying in the amusement park video, I feel like they're doing things to bring in people, and there's nothing wrong with this because I know people view movies differently than we do. They watch movies differently, but they're trying to get people that watch movies like that, like amusement parks. They're trying to get people like that into their theaters. They're not really caring about people that, love cinema anymore and trying to get them in anymore.
No,
because they don't care about the theater checks. They don't care about, I have Regal Unlimited, but like, are you trying to keep me as a customer by like, making sure people aren't disturbing me in the theater? No, you're like trying to get people in and like concessions and all this other stuff that I could care less about. I don't know.
Well, it's just like the movie. It's just a business. So, like you said, they make their money concessions, so that's all they want.
Yeah. But what you should be thinking about, and that's all great with the concessions, but it's like, do you care about getting the customer in there for one time, or do you care about getting the customer there and making them stay there, or convincing them to stay there and continue watching movies there, and not leaving and going somewhere else?
Just once.
Just once. That's all they care about.
Just once.
I got you in here this one time. That's it.
Hey,
if you have a bad experience, whatever.
You're going to come back or you're not, pretty much.
And honestly, a lot of places have the benefit of that because there's not competition.
Yeah.
Like,
Even here, there's one. Within 15 minutes, you have 3 or 4 cinemas. 2 of them are AMC, 2 of them are Regal. So
yeah,
they're going to get your business either way.
And then you have
here.
Well, you have the Independent, you have Red and Greensboro, and you also have the Brassfield Cinemark.
Well, further down.
But
even Red, that's more for that area.
Yeah.
I can't imagine someone driving who has Regal Unlimited. Well, I want to see it at Red. Not unless they're playing like the Art House. That's the only thing they have on the other theaters. They have indie movies.
Well, if you have Regal Unlimited, you're going to go see a movie at Regal.
Yeah.
And that's what I have now, so I'm going to go see a movie there. I'm not going to pay to go see a movie somewhere else, unless Regal doesn't have that movie here.
Yeah.
Here in Asheville, like there's a Regal, there's a Cinemark, which is the next. Regal is actually closest to me as well, and then there's the Cinemark, and there's an AMC across town, and then there's 2 independent theaters, and that's the only well, there's actually one south too, another some theater that I don't know anything about. It's like in 20, 30 minutes away, but not all these theaters are showing the same movies either,
I I mean, before, even when they had Regal Unlimited, I had AMC A list. The Regal was right there, like 5 minutes away, but I would drive 15 to go to the one in High Point because I like it better. Most people won't, but then they're not seeing as many movies as me or you would,
Right.
which is not my problem.
Which, I mean, if I like a theater more, I'm gonna go pay to go to that theater.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know. You just have those big chains. You have those big ones that I named, and that's really the only options. You have the 2 independent theaters here too that I named, which I haven't been to one. I've been to the other one, and I did like it, but it only shows like 2 movies at a time, and I see way more movies than that, and it just
they're probably playing at the other bigger theaters. Huh?
Exactly.
Some of them anyway.
So I could get this, if I have Regal Unlimited, I'm just gonna go see the movie there because it's closer and I have the free movie already.
Yeah.
So, and if I go downtown to see a movie too, like that, I have to worry about parking, I have to worry about walking to the theater, like I have to worry about all these other added factors of just going to one of the bigger theaters and having, park right there and walk in and it's free and whatnot.
Probably not reserved seating either.
No, it's not. Because a lot of the indie theaters don't have that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, I guess, but that is one thing that I do like about theaters that they have taken. Most theaters now is that they do have the reserved seating.
People just don't care about it.
Well, they're not being enforced as much either. That's another thing about as far as the theater checks and stuff go. And I know this is not. Part of it too is that theater chains aren't paying employees enough, or giving theaters, each individual theater, the amount of money they should be able to spend, because they're worried about how much each theater is spending on like staffing.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you should have somebody that's their job on their shift is to do theater checks constantly and to make sure people are sitting in the right seats, like patrolling theaters and enforcing this stuff.
I'll just tell people to get out of my seat.
Well, I do too, right? But a lot of people, and I've ran into this working at theaters, and I've seen it just sitting in theaters. A lot of people, they'll come in and they'll see somebody in their seat and they'll just go to another seat and sit down, or they'll be like, "Oh, I don't want to move that person." I had a lot of people when I worked at the theater come out and say that so what happened was they went to the theater, somebody was in their seat, so they went and sat somewhere else, and then somebody else came in and said, "Well, that's my seat."
Yeah.
And then there's this whole thing, and it's like, if you had just made the person move to begin with, this probably wouldn't have been there.
They sat in their seat.
Well, exactly. But, then it's just like a domino effect of stupidity.
I don't understand what's so hard about it, though. You chose the seat.
Well, a lot of people, too, they want to be rebellious, and they don't want to...
I want this good seat.
I don't know. I guess it's that or stupidity. I don't know. A lot of people, I remember working at theater, and they were coming up, and they were being like, "Well, I'll just sit where I want."
Yeah, good luck with that.
People like me, I am strongly against that kind of attitude, and as far as like theaters go, so I would sit there and explain it to them. If you sit somewhere else, you will be removed from the theater.
Yeah.
And but a lot of other people getting, especially lower level floor staff getting paid $7.25, they don't care. They're just like, whatever, man. Whatever, pick your seat, and then they go on in, and then they sit where they want.
I remember in Practical Jokers, I was sitting in my seat, and it was almost sold out. But it was the very last row, and for some reason there was a gap. But then there were 3 seats over here I was sitting on the end, and there were 2 that were already taken. Movie's about to start. This young couple comes in, and the girl's like, she's like, "Oh, are those 2 taken?" She's like, "We lost our tickets." You lost your ticket? Didn't you just buy it?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. People,
I told her, I was like, nobody's sitting there right now. But I mean, obviously later, somebody came in like, "Oh, these are our seats."
And what do those people do?
They got up and went somewhere else.
And they kept walking up and down the aisle, like trying to find an open seat.
No, they didn't keep. Well, I mean, I didn't notice them keep walking up and down, but that's because it's like stacked now.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know how you lost your ticket either. It's either on your phone or you just bought it.
And they probably threw it away with the receipt because they didn't think they needed it.
Yeah. Found out, I guess.
Which is stupid because I know you had to pick the seat out when you bought it.
Yeah. Or you have people. I remember for Infinity War, it was like the third time I watched it. Late at night, I'm sitting in my seat. This whole row is almost full. Besides the two seats beside us, woman comes up. "Oh, do you guys mind sliding down? We don't like our seat." No, I'm not sliding.
No.
It's like, well, I don't think those seats are taken. I was like, you can sit there if you want,
but I'm not going to.
I'm not moving. I chose my seat. I like where I sit. So no, I was like, she said, "Oh, well, we don't like the seats down there. You should have bought your tickets earlier for Infinity War."
You should probably go get a refund then if you don't like your seat.
Yeah. I can tell you what happens. Like, I've seen it, so you don't have to stay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like a regular movie. It's Avengers Infinity War. It's going to be sold out. So you had to expect this.
Yeah, apparently people don't understand that either, like event films and how quickly they sell out, or any film on the weekend.
Prime showings.
I remember people would come up that every time, and not even if they were coming up just at 7:00 for a 7:00 movie, but coming out throughout the day on a weekend, like a Friday and Saturday, and they would be trying to buy tickets for like a 7:00 show, and they would already be down to like the front row, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious?"
That is the only thing that I don't like about reserved seating. Is like last minute plans or something, which that's on the person. But
yeah,
back in the day, you get there, even before it's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get a good seat." 20 minutes before the movie starts. Now it's over.
Yeah.
Like I say, right now I've got my ticket for A Quiet Place 2 the Friday morning after it opens, just so I can be there by myself. Hopefully.
I'm gonna go online and buy a ticket right beside you.
I don't care. I mean, I've got my seat that I like.
I mean, I would just save you. Somebody wouldn't be Sims.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, right now I'm the only person in the theater right now that has my ticket. But I chose Friday at 11:30 a.m. because of that reason. Most people are going to be at work. Nobody's bringing their kids to see this movie. They're in school. So I'm good. But if I look at opening night at 7 p.m., well, nobody has their ticket for that either. So I guess this movie's going to bomb at the box office. Never mind. That just totally blew my point away.
Well,
he was going to tank.
It's just behavior too. Like when we saw Rise of Skywalker, it was opening night, and put this aside that the movie was bad. It's the ninth film in Star Wars. The last film in the Skywalker saga. We see this. Yeah. What?
I'm surprised you're going to acknowledge it.
Only for this video.
Okay.
I don't acknowledge it, But anyways, it's this big event film because I feel like that's what brings people out to the movies the most now. To a theater is event films, and I would consider this a big event film. And we had our seats, and they were on the second row, but like this auditorium was smaller, so it was really like I guess what the handicap row would be usually. But we were in the seats that weren't like the handicap, so we weren't like taking those seats. We were in like the ones that were available for the general public. Which some jackass ended up buying the seat anyways. There was the handicap seat beside us, and he comes in and he sits down, and the dude is like on his phone the whole movie.
Nice.
And I'm like, why come in to I don't understand the logic and everything of why you would come in to watch a big film like this and just be on your phone the whole time.
Maybe he really hated it.
I mean, if so, like, I don't blame you, but also, can you not acknowledge that you're right beside other people?
Yeah.
You know, like,
what if you did love it? Then you got to suffer through that.
what Doolittle? I didn't like Doolittle, but I'm not gonna like pull my phone out and just be like, man, fuck everyone else in this theater, like, you know. And that's the kind of experience that we had, and to the point where I had to eventually say something to the guy. I'm like, you know, can you put your phone up? And they're just like so shocked, almost drops the phone out of their hands, like, you know, freaking out, like, oh my god, somebody else is in here that didn't like me have my phone out. And
then somebody's gonna say something to you for talking.
Then I just punch him right in the face. But yeah, I guess back to streaming services. We're amongst the streaming wars. These different services competing against each other of who's going to win, and I don't really know if there's any clear winner. I just think that's, in my opinion, I know I've said this to Abel in that episode. I think outside of, you know, places like LA, maybe New York, maybe some of these other bigger cities, you'll always have these theaters that show everything, and you'll always have access to them. But in terms of just general every city, I feel like we're going to eventually head into the age where the only movies you go see on the cinemas anymore are going to be event films, are going to be like MCU films, horror films, movies that bring out large crowds, and everything else that we love about cinema is going to be on streaming services.
I hope not.
I hope not.
That just
feel like
awful.
I feel like in the next 15 years, that's where things are going to be headed.
Man, that'll be terrible. Like, I can't imagine like some movies like The Rider or First Reformed just sitting and watching that at home for the first time. That just sounds brutal to me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm sure, like, The Rider. Who went to see that movie?
Well, that's the thing. I had to drive to Charlotte to see it. At Indie Theater, that's closed now.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say.
Well, and that has to be partly on them, because it was a 2-story building. You could have played blockbuster movies.
Well, I don't know.
Just to play indies, which I'm fine with that, because, you know, you're the only people around really playing those movies. So, but then who's going to come see them? Like, yeah. I've been there. I went there probably 10 or 11 times, and never was there a time where the thing was sold out or even close.
Not to keep naming that theater chain, but in terms of their theaters in Charlotte, I recently passed one where it used to be that chain and it's now closed down and it's a different chain. So I don't know what they're doing in that city.
I don't know. But I mean, like I said, that's part of the theater too. You chose to just show indie movies, so maybe you wouldn't have closed down if you would have. Because I noticed, I didn't think anything about it until now, but I noticed, like, end of the year, even summer, they were playing. They showed Endgame at that theater, which I would have never thought they would have. They showed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I wouldn't have considered that an indie movie. Tarantino, that's an event film. So I mean, and they played Star Wars, Lion King. They played. So obviously, at that point, I think they were trying to get money not to close it.
Yeah.
Which at that, you should have been doing that the whole time, because they had an upstairs theater, but it was never open.
Which doesn't make any sense why you would have that.
That's on you for that. So maybe that place wouldn't have closed if they had been playing bigger movies with the.
Well, it's higher up management, I feel like, too.
Well, they don't have to worry about it now.
No, it's gone now.
That sucks.
But
like I say, movies like that, I can't imagine. Oh yeah, I get to watch The Rider on Amazon for the first time on a 55-inch TV. No,
I feel like that's what's going to happen.
No. Because it's so easy. That's the thing about going to the movies. Yeah, I went to the movies to watch The Rider and First Reformed, but if I'm at home, or am I going to watch those two? No, I'm probably going to rewatch something else. I'm throwing on The Office just because.
Right now, but when you
Yeah.
don't have the option to see those other movies in theaters, maybe things will change.
I doubt it. So I mean, how many movies do you rewatch instead of going to see some in the theaters?
I rewatch a lot of movies compared to what
I mean, on your box movie you watched this year altogether.
What was that?
How many movies have you watched this year on Letterboxd?
We'll see if Letterboxd will actually load.
Yeah, it's working now. Because out of my 44 movies, or rewatches out of 64, so only 20 new movies. And only 10 of those are in theaters.
I've seen 25 films.
Wow.
this year.
You're
Well, it says I have
crushed.
26 reviews, so I don't really understand, but
Well, that's Batman, that one. But you
it
said
says 25 diary entries.
I don't know.
So
But-
I don't know.
But out of that, how many rewatches?
I don't know. How do I figure that out?
Go to stats.
I'm at stats now.
All right, just go down. Keep scrolling down till you get to the pie charts.
Okay.
Yeah,
25 films watched.
mine says 64 diary entries, 66 reviews. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Rewatches.
Yep. Is the gray.
17 out of the 25 have been rewatches.
Yeah. So that's my point.
So, and to put that in perspective too, like 7 of those films I've seen in theaters. The only movie I watched new that hasn't been in a theater was Night of the Roxbury, I think.
Horse Girl.
Well, okay, so 2020 movies. That's what I was talking about. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I mean. There's a greater chance of me sitting at home rewatching something I've already seen before, or I could watch something new to me but could be old, like Night at the Roxbury.
right.
Because you said, oh, you watched it because it's short.
It was an hour and a half, so it's like I can watch it and like do other things around here too.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the times change, as we progress into that era, I think it will change a little bit where I will pay attention to watch these other films at home more than I would.
Oh.
But you also have more of those films probably too that we'll know about and hear about from people that we follow or like news outlets or whatever that we'll pay attention to and watch on Netflix. Because right now, some new stuff is dropping on Netflix, but nothing that I'm really interested in because of the time of the year. They're not putting out a Marriage Story, like you said, on Netflix right now. The only things recently on Netflix that I've heard that came out was Horse Girl, which I watched.
Yeah.
The other one with Anne Hathaway, which I heard was bad, so I haven't seen it.
Terrible.
And then that Mark Wahlberg movie, which I have no interest in. So
They have a Mark Wahlberg movie right now?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's that top 10 thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care. But it's the same, like stuff like that. I just don't care.
Which part of me is surprised something like they're lucky. I don't know. I'm surprised that's not in theaters, that Mark Wahlberg thing, because that does seem like something that you would put in theaters for people to come check out. But
I don't know. I think Netflix is smarter than that. I think they know what people are going to watch in theaters compared to like that movie. Are you going to pay to put that in theaters? Like it's the beginning of the year.
Probably not.
Other stuff to watch. Like if they made a Mark Wahlberg movie at the end of the year, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't expect people would turn out for that Hitman's Bodyguard either, but they're making a sequel to that. We were just talking about earlier.
Because of you.
I didn't go see that in theaters.
Well, that's also your fault. for not seeing it in theaters. That's why your Fire Stick doesn't work.
Nah,
They're on to you.
I don't know what he's talking about. No, there's no way I was seeing that movie in theaters. But you know, Underwater, that movie was bad. I'm shocked that they put that out in theaters, but it was also a horror movie, and that genre does well in theaters. It brings people in no matter what the film is. It could be complete shit.
They also released it in January with no other competition.
Yeah.
But it was also pushed back a lot. Because it was like one of the first, if not the first movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to probably
after the Disney Fox merger. So they
probably supposed to come out in January 2018 and
probably. But like I say, January, it's not like they released it in October where you have competition with good movies and other horror movies. This is January. There's nothing else to watch.
Right.
At that point, all your awesome movies are out of theaters, pretty much. Anything new is going to be bad, just like Underwater. So why not go see it?
I guess I want to talk a little bit about too the just Peacock and HBO Max, because they haven't came out yet, and we really don't know like what to expect that much from them. But it just like I feel like the HBO Max one makes the most sense in a way, but not really, because we already have HBO, and I don't know how much different this is from HBO. Like, why don't you just keep HBO and expand on it?
Because they make original content anyway.
Right.
Which is just for them. They don't. I haven't seen anything for HBO get put in theaters.
Not yet.
But they're also smart to the point that they don't put their stuff on anything besides HBO. Recently, they have a contract with Amazon, but that's for stuff that's already been done for years.
Right, like Sopranos,
The Wire, 6 Feet Under, L Word. So I mean, anything new, you have to subscribe to HBO to watch. Game of Thrones, whatever they have now. Euphoria, I guess, was the last big show.
Yeah.
And it's a weekly show where you don't watch it, it's getting spoiled.
But like Peacock, I don't know. That's the one where it's like becoming like almost annoying at this point that so many different companies are having different streaming services, because it's to the point now where like, how many can a person afford? You know, like at this point, people have to start making decisions of what they want to actually get, you know, because people are not going to pay all of these different prices to get like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney Plus, Peacock, HBO Max, etc.
Okay. But I mean, if I'm going to pay however much for streams, I might as well have cable again.
I mean, this is more than cable eventually when you start adding up all this stuff, you know, especially when you have something like HBO, which is like, you know, almost $20 for 1 month. And you got Amazon, which is, you know, Amazon's a little bit different because it comes with all the other factors of Amazon Prime, but that's like $100 a year. And that's like one, you know, you got to pay for that at one time. I get maybe they do a monthly type thing. I'm not really sure.
Like, unless, you know, you can write them off on your taxes, like if you're in the industry or whatever as a critic.
Well, that's a completely different situation.
Other than that, I can't imagine how much a month that is.
But then that, you know, it starts to get to the point where you have to, like I said, you have to start making decisions about which one you want to actually have. And I don't know how somewhere a service like Peacock survives when you have to make those decisions. Unless they really, you know, Apple TV too. I forgot all about that one. That's a new one.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who has that, you know. So we have all these different services. Which ones do you think are the most likely to have the biggest success moving forward?
Happens always.
Yeah.
I
agree.
That if it came down to one that people are going to keep, it's going to be Netflix.
Netflix is the winner, hands down, I think.
Amazon only comes close because of you get the other services.
Exactly.
If Amazon Prime became its own thing, doesn't stand a chance.
One that I do want to mention too, and this is a difficult one, and that's Disney Plus. I don't think it's been great so far. It has their whole catalog right now or whatever, but
not everything, as we found out with Pirates of the Caribbean.
We did find that out. I haven't outside of the first season of Mandalorian, I haven't been impressed because the stuff from Disney that I want to watch, I already own.
Yeah.
Like, I want Disney Plus because of the new original content like Mandalorian. But I had that. It's over now. And the next thing that I care about on Disney Plus doesn't come out until August with Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I was thinking about yesterday. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense that Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out in August. Say expands 2 months, August, September. You get Mandalorian, October, November.
Yep.
WandaVision, December, January. That's a year after the service was ended, right when everyone's subscription for a year ends. And
yeah,
they have
you got
to
free, something like that.
Yeah.
But
so,
I mean, at that point, I think people were expecting more of Disney Plus at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think after this year, you're going to get what you thought you were going to get before with the original content-wise.
Right.
Your Marvel shows are picking up, your Star Wars shows are, and you're going to have Disney Plus in order to keep up now.
Right. And that's why I think that is actually going to succeed.
This is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where you don't have to watch that. Like, you have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier to understand what's going to happen.
Like, yeah, you're going to have to watch WandaVision to understand Doctor Strange into the multiverse. And without it, you're going to be lost. And
which is smart for them.
Yeah,
good for
it
you
is.
Guys. But I think that will pick up. I don't think it's ever going to compete with Netflix.
No, because I think it's completely different. Because I feel like Netflix is original films like we are interested in turn. Well, I mean, not to say that we're not interested in Star Wars and Marvel and all that, but just these original indie films that I would like to see on the big screen. That's what you're going to get with Netflix. With Disney Plus, you're getting more of this stuff like MCU, Star Wars, but you have to watch it to understand this other stuff. It's like intertwined with those other films, but it's part of it, and that's why that service is going to succeed. For people like us, it also is going to have a bunch of kids content that is going to hook them. I feel like that's the other side of Disney Plus. But that's our conversation, guys, on streaming services. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode of On the Rocks. I'll talk about a different topic. I'm going to let Ethan pick out the next topic here because I picked this one out. And we'll dive into that and see where it goes. If you haven't watched our other episodes of On the Rocks, check it out. We have one talking about theme park films, Scorsese and his conversation about that. Go back and check them out and let us know what you think.